All right, welcome back to the next training section in the legal agreements, which is going to be liability waiver. So inside of the parts that we've completed thus far, we have gone ahead and completed editing the Google document. We also went ahead and built the waiver inside of ClientKit, right? So we have the liability waiver that is right there. And then we are now going to go ahead in this training section and talk about part 3 and on part 4. Okay, so you should already be a pro at this because we've already gone ahead. If you completed the previous training, inside of the previous training, we actually already went ahead and set up the email notifications. But I'm going to walk you through this one more time so that way you can confirm and check them. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over here to marketing. And then once you are here under marketing, you're then going to go ahead and click on emails templates. And you want to make sure that you do in fact have those specific email templates that we did import previously. Okay, so if you do not have them, make sure you go ahead and follow the instructions from the new client agreement. That's going to be very important. In that specific training, we talk about how to import the actual templates that we have already created for you, so that way you don't have to do the work there. It's going to be email marketing, and then you have these 3 templates that we have created for you. Okay, after you've gone ahead and done that, what you're going to do is you're going to go back over to payments. You're going to go over to contracts, all documents and contracts. You're going to go over to settings. You're going to make sure that here under customer notifications, the very first one, make sure that the toggle is turned on. And then the first one says sign agreement. And the second one says signed confirmation. Okay. And the toggle is turned on there. And then you finally have team notifications. And you want to make sure that the third template that we have created for you is the template that the actual software ClientKit is going to be using. And we say this all the time. The ClientKit is just a tool, right? They are not informing you on the strategy, right? That's the reason why we create these templates, we create these training videos for you, so that way you're able to follow along on the actual strategy of what you're actually going to do here, right? So that's the reason why you're going to be using the template that we provide rather than having to make one from scratch, and make sure that toggle is turned on. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be email notifications. Pretty easy because of the fact that we already did this setup. And that's exactly the reason why we're saying that, hey, once you've gone ahead and followed an actual system, it's an evergreen system. This is the reason why you don't have to redo it for all of your legal agreements, right? Later on, if you have some other sort of legal agreement, when you create other legal agreements, guess what? It's already done for you. That's why it's a seamless system. Okay. So that is going to be part number 3, which is email notifications. That's the one we've just gone ahead and completed right over here. We're now going to go ahead and talk about actually sending the liability waiver. Okay. So let me walk you through how this is going to look. Okay. So we're going to be here under payments. We're going to be here under templates. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to walk you through how are you going to send the liability waiver to a client in order to actually go ahead and use it. So what you're going to do is you can either use these dots right here, click on the 3 dots and use template, okay? Or you can click into the waiver and then use template from here, right? However, because the first time around I did do the internal use template, right now I'm actually going to try the external one. So let's do use template. That is going to actually go ahead and open up. Now, I want to make this clear if we didn't make it clear in the main training already. This liability waiver is already included in the actual client agreement. And so it's not like you have to get them to sign 2 of them, okay? What ends up happening here is that usually the liability waiver is going to be used for people who are not yet clients, okay? So that's the reason why you have the liability waiver. And in this case, let's say, for example, I'm going to go ahead and send this over to, again, let's do Elon Musk again, okay? So let's say Elon Musk hadn't yet become a client. He hadn't yet signed the client agreement. And so that's the reason why I'm going to send him a liability waiver, because he's going to do, let's say, a free workout or something like that, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select his name. I'm going to do Command C in order to copy, right? I got my hotkey shortcut there. I'm going to go ahead and select over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and paste right over here. Boom, just like that. And then that's it. Unlike the actual client agreement where there was actually verbiage that you had to change, right? Because there was some stuff that you had to change, like the terms, the payments, and all that kind of stuff. For the actual liability waiver, it's just a template. That's all it is, right? And all of this other information, participant's name and date right now and all that kind of stuff, that's automatically going to get filled. Now, over here, you'll see this looks like a little bit funky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this out. I'm going to hit save. I'm then going to go ahead and hit send, share via link. Generate links. Okay, so I got my link over here, so I can obviously go ahead and just send that out. And again, if you don't know, you can hold Control or Command and then hit backspace to open up another tab going backwards. And then obviously I could go over and send this over to, Elon as a text message or whatever, right? However, what I want to do is I want to see what this funkiness over here is. So I'm going to go over here to view, and this is the reason why you test. Okay, so you're looking over here. It looks like if I zoom in, it looks like it did go ahead and accurately fill in the participant's name. Remember, that is a automation. That is something that's going on behind the scenes as a custom value. It filled in the date as well, which is awesome. Okay, then I scroll down and I want to see, oh, look at this. this is all jacked up, no bueno, right? And so what this means, this is the reason why you test, is that this means that I'm going to have to go back, and let me actually go ahead and move this to draft. Okay, so I'm going to move this back to draft. I'm going to go back. Actually, let me save real quick. Let me save the draft, okay? And actually, you know what we're going to do? Let's go ahead and see if I can just delete this. Can I delete this? Yes, I can. So I'm going to delete this one, and we're going to start from scratch. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the template, and I'm so happy this is happening actually inside of the actual training video, because then you can see how to actually troubleshoot these things, right? So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go over here to templates, and I'm going to go over to our liability waiver template, and it looks like the formatting on this just isn't good enough, right? Because it's a little bit funky. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and move this around a little bit, okay? So just like that, I'm going to move this around and see if it looks okay like that, okay? So I'm going to save, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use template, and then once the template is starting to load, we're going to go ahead and let me zoom out a little bit so I can focus again here. So we're going to go back over here to Elon Musk, okay? And then let me scroll down. It looks a little bit funky still. Let me go ahead and save. Let me go ahead and let me preview over here. Actually, instead of sending it to him, let me just do a preview and see. It looks like over here, the reason is because the signature is actually overlapping with the actual participant's name, right? And so this is why the reason the formatting needs to be fixed up here, right? So that's the reason why we check. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trash this one here. Now be careful, because right here, I can check. This is actually even though it says template, this is the one that I have made as a duplicate to the template. So that's the reason why I feel comfortable to delete this. And I'm not actually going to be deleting the template that I have, right? So once I hit delete, I'm going to go back over to templates. Just be careful with that. Liability waiver. Here's one more thing I'm going to try. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to move the signature on the same line as, let me close this out here. I'm going to move the signature on the same line, right? So that way it goes participant's name, and I'm actually going to move the date to the second line. Okay, so I'm going to move the date to the second line. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and edit the actual, the document, the Google Doc for you, just so that way it's taken care of for you ahead of time. So this might not even be an issue for you by the time you go through this, but I just want to show you, it's good for you to understand how to kind of troubleshoot this, so that way you're aware of how all this works, right? So I want to go ahead and put, let's say, participant signature here. So I move the date down here, and I'm going to hit save, and let's go zoom out a little bit here and use template. And let's go ahead and try this out one more time, okay? So what we're going to do is it's going to ask us who's the contact. Let's do Elon Musk. And just so I don't get confused and accidentally delete my template, I'm going to make sure I change the name of this, so that way I know that it's Elon Musk's. I'm going to hit save. Then I hit preview. And when I scroll down, hopefully, right? So this is working over here, the custom values. Let's scroll down here. And boom, just like that. So it looks like right here on top of the signature field, there was kind of like a, the name of the person. And that's the reason why it was overlapping with this name of the person. And so now that we've reformatted it, you'll see it actually works. So participant name, the date, and then we also have the signature field, and now it's not overlapping because we've actually gone ahead and moved it. Okay, so that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you troubleshoot these things if you ever actually need to do so. Now, what you want to do here as you're going through this is the one that we did for Elon Musk, right? So sure, I can keep this, I can delete it, it's up to me, right? So just because I want to be clean, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add myself into the actual system and test this out with myself, right? So I'm going to go over here, templates, and let's say, for example, that my name was John Doe, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, and if I am in my own ClientKit account, which I should be, if you haven't gone ahead, you want to make sure that you are adding yourself as a contact inside of your CRM, so that way you can actually test things with yourself. And then let's say, for example, I go John Doe, and then I'm going to go ahead and change. Remember, do this, okay? This is very important right here. So that way you always know what's a template versus what has been actually duplicated for a specific client. And then you hit save, and then you can go ahead and send it to yourself and see how it's actually going to look. And then you can also make sure that the email confirmations come through, see how the email templates look. You can just do a full-on test. That's going to be very important, because remember, just like we talked about, we did actually go ahead and set up those emails, right? The signed agreement, the signed confirmation, the internal notifications. You want to test it out so that way you get a feel of how everything actually works. And then in the future, there are more advanced automations that you can do, which would be like, hey, once they sign the agreement, send them an invoice. Once they sign the agreement, send them all this other stuff. So that's kind of later on more advanced stuff that we'll talk about in terms of advanced automations. But the basic automations are already built out via the emails. And so we've already gone ahead and walked you through how to set those up. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. You now have your liability waiver live. We've gone through editing the Google document, building it inside of ClientKit. We've talked about the email notifications, which should have already been done from the previous training, as well as sending it and how to actually troubleshoot some issues that might come up. Congratulations. You've now created and tested your liability waiver. You are now continuing to unlock more and more skills as a business owner and learning how to be able to do this yourself. You see, it doesn't take long, right? Maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, a couple hours the first time you do this. But then after that, you've now unlocked the skill for yourself to be able to do this for the rest of your career and for the rest of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. We will catch you in the next training section.